Hi everyone, and welcome to our first talk of Thamesmead online session. So I'm going to introduce our panel in a second, but I just wanted to kind of run through the format for you in case you haven't been in one of our webinars before. So currently we can't hear you or see you, so you can carry on making your dinner or whatever it is that you're doing. While you're listening, if you want to ask a question, there is at the bottom of the screen, there is a Q&A box. As we go along and people are talking, please feel free to put in a question at the bottom, and then what we will do is we will answer those questions towards the end. So what I would like to do is, so John, could you please just pop up magically for me and introduce yourself?
There we are. Hopefully that's instant enough. Yes, hi, I'm John Lewis. I'm the Executive Director at Peabody, responsible for all the work we're doing in Thamesmead.
Thanks, John. And now Kate.
Hello, yeah, so my name's Kate and I am Head of Landscape and Placemaking at Peabody.
Thank you. And we have Phil.
Hi everybody, my name's Phil. I am Director of Landscape and Placemaking, and I'll be telling you a bit more about some of the things we do later on.
Thank you, Phil. And we've got Jez.
Hello everyone, my name is Jez. I'm the Local Area Plan Manager in Thamesmead.
And Adriana. Oh, and Carly.
Hi, good evening. My name is Adriana. I'm Head of Culture for Thamesmead and telling you about some of our cultural events and projects this summer.
Thank you, Adriana. And I nearly forgot you, Carly. I'm sorry. And we've got Carly as well.
Hi everyone, my name's Carly. I'm the PR and Communications Manager for Thamesmead at Peabody.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, John, I am going to pass that to you.
Thank you very much. Great. Well, I've already introduced myself, so we could probably just jump straight to the next slide, actually, if that's okay. And what I just wanted to do, we've got a load of information to share with you today, but I was just wanted to bring you up to speed specifically about an enormous project that's just getting underway in Thamesmead now, because we really need your help with this project. And I just want to explain how that's going to happen.
John's on mute.
Yeah, I've just realised that. John, you're on mute. Sorry.
Wasn't. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. I'm sorry. I think let's start back to the beginning, I'm afraid, John, if that's
okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. No, very strange. Anyway, yeah, let's start again. So what I was saying was talking about the waterfront at Thamesmead, and you should be seeing a slide there which shows the waterfront in that grey colour, and that is actually 100 hectares of land which incorporates the existing town centre. There's also 2 kilometres of river frontage right on the Thames, but of all of you that know the town centre currently, often there doesn't feel like you're anywhere near the Thames when you're actually in the town centre, and it all does feel a little bit cut off. So what we have is an ambition to create a whole new neighbourhood which will include the existing town centre, that really is about meeting the needs of residents in and around Thamesmead. So this is a huge opportunity. It's a very long-term project as well, but we really do need your help to shape its future. So turning to the next slide, so far what we've done, and you can see in plan form there, the waterfront on the left, is we've brought in a partner, and a partner who is an international developer and a large-scale contractor called Lend-Lease. And we've partnered with them to help us bring together a plan for this enormous opportunity within the town. And together, we've recently pulled together a whole new team following a big scale competition we did to find some experts who could help us design a master plan for the new town centre. And this work has just started. So we are really looking forward to creating something very exciting, innovative and very special for Thamesmead. But a fundamental part of this is making sure we've got the transport links for the town centre. So currently we're working with Transport for London to deliver what has been a promise by the London Mayor to bring the DLR to Thamesmead. So we're working on that very closely. There's a big piece of work undergoing at the moment, which is coming forward hopefully by around October, when we'll understand what's feasible in respect of delivering a DLR to this area. If this is actually achieved, then the whole centre can be planned around a new station. And it means that we've got a real opportunity to look at this completely differently, because you can imagine how well connected the waterfront would be. It also means that it would be a phenomenal area to bring far more jobs to Thamesmead, many, many more things to do, and also some more much needed new homes into the centre itself. So that's our big scale plan. There is a huge amount of detail which we'll be sharing over the many months ahead of us, but we do need your help now in terms of helping us understand what this new neighbourhood should be like. So we've put together a few opportunities to give you the opportunity to meet the master planning team and discuss and really give your views, because we've all got opinions, but we need to really hear from people who are going to be using this day in, day out. So on the 14th of August, and you're going to hear a bit more about the festival coming up shortly with Adriana, but on the 14th of August, there's the Thamesmead Festival at Southmead Park. It's running between 12 and 7 p.m. And we're going to have a team from the master plan team actually there on the day to have discussions with you, and you tell us what you think this whole new neighbourhood should be about. And then if you're not able to make that on the 28th of August, there is the Thamesmead Family Fun Day at Galleons Reach Park, which is part of this area, or just alongside this area, and that's running between 12 and 5 p.m. So again, some really good opportunities to come along, enjoy those events, but also give us your views. And then on top of that, we're organising some walk and talk sessions with local groups, and they're currently being arranged. And beyond that, we've got some additional events planned for the autumn. So loads of opportunity to give us your views. And I can't stress enough how important it is to us to really understand what would work for you. So hopefully you'll be able to find some time to get involved in one of those sessions. If not, you'll have all our contact details at the end of this presentation in order to give views in a different way. So that really is the update I wanted to give. And so I'm now like to hand over to Kate to take you into the next bit.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome. I shall go on mute now officially, even though I didn't do it last time.
Sarah Jane, if you could just go along a couple of slides, that would be great. So yes, I said introduced at the beginning, head of landscape and placemaking, and so if you just go back one, thank you. So just want to talk about a really exciting project that we have got that is very live at the moment in the Moorings. So this photograph is of was taken in 1976, so when this bit of Thamesmead was first built. And if anyone knows this, they will probably recognise in the background we've got Harold Wilson House, and in the foreground we've got the canal, and kind of nestled in the middle is what was called the Moorings Social Club. And this was part of that kind of original infrastructure that the GLC put in. So this idea that you would have this community space in the middle of this this estate, which is the Moorings estate, and it becomes this kind of neighbourhood centre. This building has actually been, I think, almost empty for probably coming up to 20 years now, almost. So sadly, it just hasn't been in use. Now, at the bottom, or within those, if you know it, those were shop fronts, and those, thank you, very good. Those are shops now. So it actually is quite a busy bit of Thamesmead with those shops there. It still kind of like physically is that central kind of bit of the neighbourhood, but it is really lacking this community space. And so we know that there has been this real need and this real demand and want from local people to say, we need this space back. This building is sitting empty. What can we do? So a few years ago, we, as in Peabody, put in a bid for some additional funding to support our budget that we had to the GLA, so the Mayor's Office, and we got some money from them, and we started this whole process to think about how we can open up this building again. So on the next slide, you'll see is a photo that was taken last week. So we're really excited that we're now at a point where we're on site. So we have contractors on site. And if anybody knows this building or used to go into this building, I know I've met lots of people who know it very well. This image is taken on the first floor. And the bar used to be, so on the left of this photo is where the bar used to be. We've cleared out quite a lot of space, and this is where a new cafe is going to go. We have got that light right at the end of the photo. That is a door that goes out onto one of the outside terraces. So this building has 2 brilliant outside spaces at first floor level. And then where you've got hoarding on the right hand side, there's some artwork on the other side of that, is where new glazing is going to get in. So it's going to be this really amazing space flooded with light, and have lots of activity in there. And at the moment we also have, we're working with an organisation who are based locally, in fact just behind this building, called Youth Build, and we are creating sort of a mini project within this with our contractors for some local young people to get some real hands-on experience of kind of working on a project like this, and so they can really sort of develop their skills. So on the next slide is just a bit of an example of some of the kind of information sharing that we've been doing, but also it talks a little bit about our co-design process. And so by that, what I mean is we've been working with people locally to decide what the building looks like, what it like physically looks and feels like, as well as then think about what happens in that space, how it is programmed, how it will be managed going forward. And so to do that, we have been, over the last few years, with our design team, and we have an artist on the design team, we have been working with local groups, including the Moorings Neighbourhood Forum, local schools and youth club and community groups. And we've been also sort of pre-pandemic, every like one Saturday a month, we were kind of stood outside this building with our models and our drawings, sort of doing quite live workshops to kind of understand what will make this building a success, what worked in the past, what it was missing, and what the community feel is needed now. So we've been kind of doing that for a while, and we've also fairly recently recruited some paid positions for 2 local Moorings residents to act as community researchers. And they have been working with us, but also with the Moorings Neighbourhood Forum, to start to think about, now that we're on site and this is being built, to start thinking about the long-term management of this building. So how will it be managed? How could the community be involved from day one? What different governance models could we explore to think about in the next 5 or 10 years? So even when the building is complete, that co-design process will continue. So we don't just walk away as soon as the building's complete. It's still kind of an ongoing piece of work. So on the next slide, in terms of like what have we been trying to do since we've kind of been in this pandemic? Because although we kind of got the bulk of the designs done, there was still so much that we wanted to do with people, and this is really to do with like the kind of what the look and the feel, what kind of physical changes we're going to make to the building. So we did some digital stuff, but we also went very analog. So lots of things went out by post. We've done a naming competition for the building, and we've continued to try and do those activities and workshops by post. So lots of packs have gone out to schools and local families and different community groups. And then sort of the result of that, so on the next slide is a photo that I took yesterday actually. So I was on a site visit, and so all of those discussions about that kind of look and feel are starting to kind of come to life now. So all of that kind of work that we've done is fed into, these are some samples that have been produced and brought in by the contractor. And what's interesting about this building is it is kind of steeped in history. It's really unique, and it's got lots of really beautiful kind of original features. So if anyone knows the big hall, or what is called the Great Hall, there's incredible parquet flooring in there. There are beautiful tiles, there's amazing ceilings, the window designs are very unique. And so part of our approach here is to kind of retain that, to look after it, and to kind of celebrate it. But then also to add this new layer on to say, okay, so what might this look like for people today? So as an example, that green tile that is on the left, that is a sample, and that's going to be like an infill tile. So where we've got parquet flooring, where there has been damage over the years, because it's been empty for so long, where there's water damage, we've created a new tile. And those flecks of brown in there are bits of wood that have been sort of taken out of the building as we've kind of stripped it out. They've been chipped up and then they've put into this new palette. So we're trying to kind of be as sustainable as possible, but also to just like add this new layer, this kind of colour and fun that people were really interested in seeing added to the building. And then on the next slide, so we held a naming competition. So I think we had just over 100 suggestions, which we shortlisted down to 5 and then put it out to vote. And so we had over 250 people voted, and the new name will be the Moorings Sociable Club. I think this suggestion came from a young person from a local school, which is really nice. And it's this really lovely kind of play on the original naming of the building, but also kind of bring it up to date so that this is going to be a fun place kind of for everybody that lives here. So this is the new name, and you will see it where there's lots of new signage that will go up that will be very evident. So there's even signage going on the roof that's been designed so you can see it on the flight path. So if you're ever on a plane and you're going over this building, you will see the Moorings Sociable Club. We feel very proud of it. And so, yeah, so on the next slide, this is, so we're on site at the moment. The building will open in sort of February, March next year. And as we've been kind of working on it and through this co-design process, we have this kind of like description of what we hope when it opens, this building will feel like. So this has kind of been crafted through lots of conversations, but essentially what we hope this building will do is it will become a space that fits within this neighborhood, that is very specific to the people that live here, that anyone who is there feels comfortable opening that front door. They don't feel like they don't belong. They should easily be able to walk in. That you can also, you can visit this building without a reason. You don't need to have signed up to a Zumba class or I don't know what, like you can just come in, you can visit, you can get a cup of tea, you can meet your friends, you can spend time alone, you can join a group, you can bring your laptop, there'll be free Wi-Fi throughout the building, there'll be some working space if you wanted to come and collaborate with someone on a project you're working on, you need to access some services, you can do that in this building, and there won't be a requirement to spend money. There will be a cafe, so if you want to, but also if you don't want to, that's fine. This what we hope is when the doors open that this is a space for anybody, and you can kind of just come in from the cold and just spend time in this place. So yeah, that's what I hope. So hopefully when we in a few months time we'll have hopefully we'll have a much clearer opening date, and we'll be able to announce that, and yeah, we look forward to kind of welcoming people early next year. I am going to hand over to Phil now.
Hello, thank you very much. Thanks, Kate, that was brilliant. Really excited about that project. Great to see things happening there. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about living in the landscape, which has got the rather indigestible title, A Green Infrastructure Framework for Thamesmead. But what that means in practice, as I'll talk through it, is that we really want to make the most of the fantastic canals, lakes, parks, woodlands, green space that we have in Thamesmead, which makes it absolutely unique in London, in fact, much further afield, and a real opportunity to take what we've got, which we know people love and value so much, and make more of it, make it a better place, as we started to do already with some of the work we've done in Thamesmead. So if I just go to the next slide, Sarah Jane, thank you. There are 5 key things that we are sort of really focused on in Thamesmead, and I'm going to go through those one by one. The first is called the Big Blue, and it's all about water. And of course, Thamesmead really is all about water. Not only is it next to the Thames, it has a fantastic historic pumping station at Crossness. It has the lakes and the canals, but of course, a lot of Thamesmead was originally basically built close to the Thames on a marsh. Hence, you know, all the buildings in Thamesmead are piled and supported in that way. So we've got a lot of really fantastic things to think about with regards to water. That includes the Thames Waterfront. John earlier mentioned the Waterfront project, and a great opportunity to think about how that relates to the Thames. How we can take our canals and lakes, make them better, make them cleaner, and make them good habitat also. as well as great places for walking alongside or recreation. Of course, the canals and the lakes in Thamesmead do more than look great. They're actually a really important part of making Thamesmead work and protecting it from flooding. And interestingly enough, I think that when they were first thought of and conceived back in the 60s, in retrospect, they were really visionary and really forward-looking. And you've only got to think of some of the issues which have happened recently in other parts of this country where there's been localised flooding. The canals and the lakes in Thamesmead can really help protect Thamesmead from that sort of thing. So using them really carefully, using them as part of a sustainable method of draining water through and out of Thamesmead. So the Big Blue, thinking about water, is a really big theme. Thank you. Next. The other really important one is wilder Thamesmead. And when we talk about wilder Thamesmead, we're talking about, you know, the fantastic array of creatures, of animals, of insects, birds, bats, you name it, that already live in Thamesmead, and how we can make it an even better place. You know, we hear a lot on the news how habitat is being lost in this country and throughout the world. But in Thamesmead, we have a real opportunity to bring habitat back, to make it work, not just for animals, but for us human beings. Well, we aren't animals actually, aren't we? But make it work for us in the sense that we know that actually people love getting out into nature. It does them good. It's good for the soul. It's good for exercise, health and well-being. So the combination of bringing habitat back into Thamesmead, thinking about meadows, thinking about great new homes for a range of species, is really powerful. And, you know, as you know, some of you know anyway, we've started to do this. If you go to Crossness Park now, you'll find, you know, the sunflower meadows, which we put in last year. We've diversified those, made them more wild this year. Seen some really good feedback on Facebook, in fact, and we've started to do some meadow seeding elsewhere. So we're starting this initiative already. And in fact, for those who are interested, we have a tour next Thursday evening about wilder Thamesmead, where myself, Kate, and some of my team, Jack, and others will take people around Thamesmead for an hour and a half or so and talk about some of these aspects in particular. So please, you know, do join us. Thank you. Next, Sarah Jane. Another really key part of what we're doing is productive landscape, and that's, you know, we know that a lot of people love growing. It's great for schools, education, food growing, all these sorts of things. And we have our gardener in residence, Georgiana, who's been doing some fantastic work around Thamesmead, Hawksmoor, here just next to the Lakeside Centre, in Marham Way at the Edible Garden, you know, really encouraging residents to get out and grow food and get their hands dirty, and that's working really nicely. It's a great start. So we're doing a lot of work on this, and we intend to do more in the future. Next, thank you, Sarah Jane. And the other really important part is what a fantastic place Thamesmead is to get out and about. And here's a picture of actually Jack Gower, our outdoor activation officer in Tump 53, with some of the many thousands of school kids who've been in there, who've found out about mini beasts, who have roasted marshmallows and had a great time in this fantastic resource. But Tump 53 is just part of a much bigger initiative to make Thamesmead a great place to exercise in, to learn about nature, to take education outside into the wider landscape. And then finally, and really importantly, it's about connecting Thamesmead up. When Thamesmead was built, it was really built around the car, with people, you know, particularly in some parts of Thamesmead on aerial walkways, etc. We want to make it a better place to walk, a better place to cycle, a better place to get around on foot. Because in reality, it's not so big that you can't do that. But what's really difficult is finding where to go, finding your destination, feeling safe as well in places. And it's really important that we look at these over a number of years to join up the dots to make it a place to get around with. So you can go from Abbey Wood to the Thames, so you can explore the lakes, the parks, the canals, the waterfront of Thamesmead successfully and safely, and feel confident in doing so. Finally, I want to talk briefly about making space for nature. So living in the landscape is a strategy. It's a long-term approach to what we want to do in Thamesmead, and it will inform not just the existing place, but also the waterfront and other projects we're involved with. But in line with that, we've got a programme called Making Space for Nature, which is our public-facing programme, where Jack and Georgiana and others in the team are engaged with working with people in Thamesmead, either through the Nature Forum, a monthly forum where people can get involved, ask questions, take part in programmes and ideas, through the Community Fund, where people in Thamesmead can bid for funding around the greening part, if you like, volunteering and outdoor learning. It's a really exciting initiative, and one which people are keen to get involved with. So please do. So that's me and living in the landscape. And next, over to Jez.
Thanks very much, Phil. I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of some of the activities which we have scheduled for children, young people and families over the summer. Thank you, Sarah Jane. So we will provide information at the end on where to find out more. So don't worry about trying to take down all the details as I go through. When we've spoken to parents and young people in the past, you've told us that there's nothing to do in Thamesmead, or that you don't know where to find out the information. So as a result, we've worked with partners to deliver some local activities, and we've also publicised those in the Talk of Thamesmead newsletter, which hopefully you have received. The posters on this slide are illustrate the food and fun holiday activities which both Greenwich and Bexley are delivering locally, some of which are in our community centres in Peabody and Birchmere. And these are free sessions, and they're open to children who are eligible for preschool meals, and there are still places available. So if we move on to the next slide. So we've also been told by parents that often activities are only available for a certain age group, and therefore not all children can participate within a family. And this is particularly the case when maybe a child has special educational needs and perhaps needs a little bit more help or assistance to do an activity, but they often have to do it on their own without the rest of their family. So we're working with Access Sports to run 4 different activities across 4 weeks in the summer, including BMXing, multi-sport sessions, and yoga. These are free, these sessions, and all siblings of the child with special needs can attend, as well as one adult. And there are still a small number of places available. So on the next slide. So this is, you've heard earlier from Phil about the amazing green spaces that we have. But you've also told us that sometimes you don't feel safe in the parks and that you wonder what there is to do there. So we've got something on, I think it's the 7th, it's this Saturday, with the Mason Foundation. And this is your chance to learn about new walking routes, to maybe get your family motivated to walk a mile. It's not actually that far. And to make new friends who you might do this with regularly. So it's at Crossways Park on the 7th of August, and there's lots of entertainment on offer as well. So once you've done the mile, there's lots of rewards in store for you. On the next slide, Sarah Jane, thank you. So some residents have told us that they'd like to organise their own projects and activities and not have us do it. And one such group is the Moorings Residents Group, who we support with some funding. They've got a family fun day organised for the 21st of August with lots of activities on it, DJing, gladiator duels, bouncy castles, etc. That's at Hawksmoor Youth Club. So if you're a Moorings resident, do get along to that. On the next slide. So we have, is that, sorry, I've just got confused myself. So we've set up a cycling hub at Thamesmead Sporting Club Thamesmead, and as you've heard already, it's a great place to cycle Thamesmead. It's got lots of cycleways and there's very few hills. as part of the Cycle Hub, you can avail yourself of cycling classes, and they're from complete beginners to family cycling rides together, and you don't need a bike to take part. So it's a great opportunity to get out and about into the green spaces. So next slide, Sarah Jane, thank you. So we've recently had some funding from London Cricket Board and installed a cricket pitch in Birchmere Park. And again, another reason to get out and about. So it makes a change from football. That's what people said. There was a lot of chances for kids to play football, but not much else. So this is a chance to get a Thamesmead on the map in terms of cricket. And there are cricket sessions run during the week on a Tuesday by Platform Cricket, 6:30 to 7:30. And then Cray Wanderers have started some cricket sessions at Hawksmoor, but also some family sessions at Birchmere on a Friday. Okay, moving on. So I'm sticking with the bike theme here. We have arranged a bicycle tour of 3 of our community centres for the 9th and 10th of August next week. And residents have told us that they often don't know where our community centres are or what goes on in them or how to book the spaces. So this is your chance to find out. If you join the tour, you'll get to visit the Link, Sporting Club Thamesmead, and you could be one of the first few people to see inside the nest. So that's our amazing new library and community centre on Southmere Lake. And there are awards as well. There's entertainment and refreshments available. So do sign up for that. On the next slide, thank you. So many of you will recognise Ashley Banjo on this slide, but unfortunately, I'm not going to tell you that he's going to be visiting Thamesmead in August. He has visited earlier this year, and he made a video with some local young people. The film is currently being aired on Sky TV, and it's sponsored by the Purcell Get Dirty campaign, so do watch out for it. The reason for mentioning it is that if there's any young people listening here, the group of young people he filmed with, they started working with us about 18 months ago. Nothing to do with Ashley Banjo. They formed a group called the Youth Eco Development Council. They designed their own project, which involved litter picking. They made a film about how fragile the planet is. This got picked up. It was a story in the local newspaper, and it got picked up by Sky. And those young people never thought that starting that project around litter would end up being filmed with Ashley Banjo, being on Sky TV. They've had loads of other opportunities that have come through there. They've met the MP and got invitations to attend her summer school. So it's basically an encouragement to any young person out there to take up the opportunities which are available, and there are plenty. We've got lots on the Thamesmead Now website. We've got the National Citizens Ship Service running currently. So yeah, do check that out. And the last slide, Sarah Jane, is for something completely different. So we're working with Greenwich Council and CC Events to bring Takeaway Fridays to Thamesmead. We're supporting local food businesses to have food stalls every Friday evening in August, so starting this next Friday coming. And that'll be based at the old police station on Titmus Avenue, and the stalls will rotate every week. So there'll be 5 different stalls every week. And residents have told us that there aren't many places in Thamesmead to meet and eat, and we're hoping that this will be an opportunity to do just that, to have fresh and healthy food at reasonable prices locally. So do look out for that and take a stroll up there on Friday if you're around. I'll now hand over to Adriana, who's our Head of Culture, to take you through the next set of slides.
Hi, thanks, Jez. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be talking to you mainly about all of the events that we've got on this summer, and actually just hearing Jez, it made me realise that there is at least one really great event for free on in Thamesmead over every weekend over the summer holidays. So yeah, I feel like we're really kind of giving something for all people in the community, something to do over the summer. So moving on to our first slide. jumping around, the Thamesmead Festival. So yeah, really excited to have this back in full swing. Obviously we had to take a break because of COVID last year, but the festival will be back kind of bigger and better than ever before on Saturday the 14th of August. We're boasting 3 music stages this year, which we've never had before. There's an arts trail, there's community stalls. I'm just going to skip you through the programme in a moment. But sorry, if you can just go back a minute, Sarah Jane. I mean, I'm sure you've seen umpteen images of people on Zoom calls, but I really just wanted to like re-emphasize that this entire program has been led by 11 local residents that have worked over the last 18 months and have worked so hard. Their names are in the latest Talk of Thamesmead issue, but yeah, they have made all of the programming decisions, and they were really keen that this was a festival that was showcasing Thamesmead talent. So 95% of the music acts and the stalls are all from people that are based in Thamesmead or have grown up in the area. So our program, if you go on to the next slide, our program has gone live today. It's on our website. I'm not going to take it through you in detail, but just to kind of give you a flavour of it, there's an opportunity to get involved with a carnival that leads into the festival. We've got our 3 stages, so you can, you've got a really good idea of who is going to be playing and at what time. We've got a dog show. Next slide. There's an arts trail, which we haven't really had before, lots of community stalls, the food and drink, and there's a festival map, which kind of like shows you the extent of it. So it's going to be around Southmere Lake, and it stretches all the way from the Lakeside Centre, which is going to be open, all the way round the lake, round to Southmere Square. So do go onto our website and check it out. Yeah, really proud of this event. It's going to be really exciting. So on a much
smaller scale, we have just opened Signet Square, which is in Southmere, in our new development, kind of just on the other side from Southmere, from the festival. And we had our first welcome event for existing and new residents this past weekend, just to start introducing people to the square and starting to, more importantly, get ideas for what people want to see in this square going forward. So if any of you are, are in the area, whether you live locally or not, that square is accessible now, and the fountains are on every day. So if it's hot and you need somewhere to take the kids, by all means, go down there, have a splash around. There's like some beautiful benches to sit down and soak in the views from the lake. And we are going to basically be testing out events over the next 9 months. So we had this small scale event on Saturday. We're going to be doing another one on the 11th of September, and then we're going to be doing one a month until March. And we don't know what those events are yet, because we want to get ideas from local people. So if you have any ideas of what you want to see in that square, or particularly if you're local to that area and you want to get more involved, then please do get in touch. We really want to kind of shape this public square with the people that are going to be using it. So these are just some of the things that we are thinking of. Perhaps there's local busking spots. Perhaps we look at getting, some markets in. I mean, that was definitely something that came out of what we did on Saturday. More seating for, cafes and restaurants when they come in, although that will be further down the line. Maybe we get pedalos. We're kind of open to all ideas. So so do let us know what you have in mind for Signet Square, and go down and check it out. Moving on, so staying with Signet Square, that you can see that in the background, we're going to be commissioning some permanent public art for the square, which is part of our cultural plan. And we're really pleased to have appointed this team of amazing young curators, led by Yinka Danmole, this gentleman here on the left, who actually grew up in Thamesmead. He came over from Nigeria when he was 6. He grew up in Thamesmead, has incredibly fond memories of the area, and says that Thamesmead really nurtured who he was. And he's gone on to study architecture and now runs a really successful practice. So what these 3 people want to do is recruit a group of 5 young people who will then be paid and be trained, and it's those 5 young people that will then work with the local community to commission this artwork. So we're currently doing a call out for those 5 young people as it stands. If you go on to the next slide.
You may have seen this campaign on social media. So, you know, they're founding it on their Are You Creative? You know, this is about setting up a new creative studio for Thamesmead. It's open to anybody based in Thamesmead between 18 and 29 years old. The deadline is the 19th of August. It's it's a well-paid, it's part-time, well-paid opportunity, you know, lots of training. So yeah, I really hope that that is of interest. So do spread the word if you know any young people that would be interested, and they will be appointed by the beginning of September. And moving on with, so the Black Culture Collective is another initiative that, you know, we're really, really pleased to be supporting. This is led by local residents. It was something that local residents came and, you know, and asked us for, and that we've worked in collaboration with. So they are a resident group. We are supporting them in these initial stages. I think the long-term aim is that the Black Culture Collective will go on and be an independent and constituted group that will run their own programs. But for the moment, we're working in partnership with them. And we have funded them to do an open call for projects that will be celebrating and representing Black culture and heritage in Thamesmead. I'm pleased to say that 5 projects have been selected by a community panel. You know, we had no hand in it at all. We simply supported them in the process. These images here are indicative of the projects that have been selected, but we will be doing a press release and announcement in the next 2 weeks. So I'm not going to go into those in detail, but just to say there are some really wonderful projects in there, and those projects will happen between now and March. So watch this space for that. And continuing the theme around, you know, community funding, local funding applications, and how we're kind of like passing over decision making to local groups. The Thamesmead Community Fund has been going now for about 3 years. We've awarded over 50 grants to local people, and it's open to any local resident to run any kind of project. It just needs to benefit the Thamesmead community in some way. So myself and Jez and our teams work really closely on this, and we mainly fund either cultural projects or community projects in some way. The next funding round is open in September, I believe. So it's a rolling programme. We run at least 3 rounds a year, and it's all decided by a resident panel. And the reason I have photographs of a filming on here is because all of the money we make from location filming goes into this community fund, plus some more funding from the Peabody Community Foundation. So look out for that if you have any ideas of your own. We are also commissioning a hot air balloon. So from the small to the quite big, we ran an international art competition last year and appointed 2 artists called Mosson and Retelik, and they are calling for stories to go onto this balloon. So any local resident can tell their story about Thamesmead, no matter how small or banal. We have an amazing story about somebody who just goes out to feed a squirrel every day that is going to make its way onto the balloon. If you go on to the next slide. All of these stories will be illustrated either by local people or by other artists that we're working with, and it will effectively become like this big floating tapestry of Thamesmead stories. So the website address is down here. Please do go and have a look. Like, it's super simple to get involved. The big hot air balloon will be made for next year and will fly in several locations around Thamesmead, but these artists will also be at the festival, so on the 14th of August, so you can come along and say hello and find out a bit more on how to get involved. I hope some of you will have seen some of the new murals and street art that we've commissioned over the last year in our underpasses, and we're continuing that theme. If you go on to the next slide. And we are working with a group of 4 local people who really wanted to commission some new artwork for this Muga, or I know locally it's known as the Cage. So we're currently working with these 4 young people, so they're not necessarily young, sorry, with 4 local residents. We're looking for 2 more people to join this group, and specifically people who use this space on a regular basis. And that group of 6 people will then become effectively the commissioning group, and they will commission the artists and commission the new artwork. So if you have a particular interest in this area or want to get involved, then yeah, do get in touch, and the artwork will be installed by early next year. And yeah, the say will be completely down to this group as to what kind of artwork they want to commission. Coming back to events, we are, one thing that we have been told over again is that, it's great having the Thamesmead Festival in Southmere, but it's in Southmere every year. And so, what about the rest of Thamesmead? So we are working in partnership with the Royal Borough of Greenwich and their festivals programme to put on a small festival in Galleons Reach Park at the end of the summer on Saturday, the 28th of August. So, and we have partnered this organisation, Global Fusion Music and Arts, with the West Thamesmead Community Association. So we know that they are talking and collaborating on what the day should look like. So again, free, great for all the family. Do pop down and see what they're doing. Another partnership that we have with Greenwich is with the Greenwich and Docklands International Festival, who bring some kind of amazing outdoor theatre to us every year. I don't know if any of you saw the Beautiful Things performance that we did in 2018, but that was also done by Greenwich and Docklands. And they're going to be doing this incredible outdoor staging of Blue Remembered Hills, which is actually a GCSE text at the moment. So if you have any teenagers of that age, then you can class this as an educational opportunity. It is, I've put here a secret Thamesmead location, but given that John started this with the Thamesmead Waterfront, I can say that this is being staged on the Thamesmead Waterfront. But it means that everybody is being bussed in and bussed out. So you do need to sign up for tickets, which are free for local residents. And the great thing about this is that it's been inspired by the Thamesmead Adventure Camps. If you go on to the next slide, which I don't know if any of you, were around in the 90s when these camps were being run on the Thamesmead Waterfront, or on the Thamesmead Waterfront site. But the play is about, children having adventures and playing outside. And we felt it just really kind of tied in to this heritage of the area. And I mean, just looking at these photos, these adventure camps just seem to be such a formative experience for local teenagers at the time. And so we've put on a local exhibition of this work in the town centre. If you go to the next slide. So if you pop into what used to be the old Beaumont bed shop, it's next to Poundland, just across from Iceland, on that corner before you go down to the clock tower. So this is open every Friday, Saturday and Sunday until the 12th of September, completely free, just walk in. It's being staffed by local residents. There's also some really, really beautiful video interviews that have been done by local artists, Liam and Vanessa Scully, being shown upstairs. So yeah, it's just a really lovely kind of like snapshot of local people's stories over the ages, and we hear that we're getting some really, really great footfall there. And just ending on our last exhibition, if you're in the town centre and you're going to see that archive exhibition, then just cross the car park and go over towards Next and Wilco's on to the warehouses on the other side. And there's this really beautiful exhibition that we've done with quite a famous artist called Bob and Roberta Smith in partnership with Tate Modern. And during lockdown, or actually over the last 2 years, he's interviewed 19 people and basically painted their stories. So that text that you see there behind him is the stories of 19 local people. I mean, it's quite a simple exhibition, but it's just really lovely. It's a lovely, great big space, and just go in and kind of read these stories. And there's some really touching moments in there. And Bob's a super lovely artist. Feel really privileged to have worked with him. And there's also a programme of workshops and events that accompany that exhibition, which is running until the 5th of September. So that's everything that's going on. I hope there's something in there for everybody. So if I haven't plugged it enough, we'll see you at the Thamesmead Festival on the 14th of August. And now I'm going to hand over to Carly to talk a bit more about our communications. Thanks.
Thanks, Adriana. Hi everyone, my name's Carly and I'm part of the communications team for Thamesmead. One of the key functions of our team is to keep residents and local people informed about the work we're doing in Thamesmead and the variety of things that happen in the area, a lot of which my colleagues will have spoken about throughout this session. So those are kinds of examples of the kinds of things that we promote and spread awareness of. SJ, next. This one, yeah. So there are various different channels through which we communicate with residents, and the main ones I would say are the website, so thamesmeadnow.org.uk. This is kind of where you'll find lots of information about what's happening in Thamesmead, Thamesmead's history, Peabody's plan for Thamesmead, any community initiatives or opportunities that are happening in kind of latest news stories. We've also got the Shaping Thamesmead Now website, which is all about the South Thamesmead Garden Estate and making space for nature, which Phil spoke about earlier. We also have Talk of Thamesmead, which is our quarterly newspaper. It gets delivered to all households and businesses in the area. So if you do live in Thamesmead, you should have received your last 2 issues. We're working on the autumn issue, which will be the 3rd issue out sometime, probably in October. We're starting work on that now. We have the Thamesmead Now monthly digital newsletter, which is kind of a short, snappy bulletin that highlights the top stories from the website. And we have the Making Space for Nature monthly digital newsletter as well, which is a roundup of the kind of must-know information on all things landscape and green space in Thamesmead. We also, of course, have our social media platforms. So that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube, which is where you'll get kind of up-to-date announcements about, again, all the work, events, opportunities that are available in Thamesmead. So I would encourage you all to follow us on socials if you aren't already. So these channels aren't just for us to send information though. We also want to hear from residents as much as possible. So if you have any questions or comments about any of the work that we're doing across any of the areas, we always welcome kind of your thoughts on those. If you know of any interesting local activities that you think other people should know about, I'd love to hear them. As I mentioned earlier, Talk of Thamesmead, the paper, we're always looking for local stories. If you have a personal experience or story to share that's related to the area, or if you're from a local organisation that's planning any upcoming community activities, we'd love to hear from you. So you can contact us via the website, via social media, via email, and yeah, that's essentially the kind of key part of our role as a team as it relates to communicating and informing residents.
Lovely, thank you very much, Carly. Thanks everyone. That was really interesting, and I feel almost a little bit exhausted by how much is actually happening in Thamesmead. I'm sorry, Carly, I think I've got a sticky button on my mouse. I was only pressing once, honestly. Okay, so we do have just a few questions. Phil, you were talking about the sunflowers in Crossway Park. The sunflowers and wildflowers in Crossway Park are such a feature. Thanks for doing it again. Will you be making this an annual thing?
So yes, I think we will. Last year it was a bit of an experiment just to really see what would happen if we tried this. And of course, I think particularly last year when everyone was stuck at home, locked down, it was really appreciated. So we thought we'd try it again this year. Slightly different, mixing a few more different species, a few more different flowers. But certainly from looking at some of the Facebook comments, that's gone down nicely. What we're really looking to do in Thamesmead is bring colour and texture and delight into people's lives, and this is one way of doing it. If anybody walks along Abbey Way between Southmere Lake and Lesness Abbey, we've tried some different species and planting up there. So we're trying a few experiments, and we'll carry on doing that. We're really looking for people's feedback as well, what they like, whether they'd like to see more, different, etc. And certainly engaging in our Making Space for Nature programme can really help inform that. But yes, we want to carry on doing these sorts of things and expand the sort of approach we take.
You're on mute.
Thanks, Phil. So also this is for you. Great to read about the lakes and canals are for summer liners or wild swimming. Are there places we can do that, and is the water safe, been cleaned?
So at the moment, we can't we can't say to people you can swim in the lakes. Although the water quality is actually not too bad, we will need to do quite a lot of work on health and safety and making places safe for people to swim. And it's certainly something which we are absolutely looking at. We recognise that there are many great places not that far away, actually, Beckenham Palace Park, for example, where you can already go for a swim if you wish. So it's something we really want to do, and I think it's something again that we would like to talk to people in Thamesmead about, and seeing how they would respond to that idea, maybe where they'd like to do it, and we can take that on board and also work with some experts around water quality and how we make these things happen. But it's absolutely something that we're really keen to do, because we've got, as we've said, these fantastic lakes. Thanks,
Phil. So my next question is, the Greenwich Family Arts Festival at Tump 53 was great. I suppose maybe this is more of a statement. Hope more events like this will happen again. So that's really, really nice feedback. Let me go with that. And then there's just some questions around sharing some details around the Youth Echo group. Jez, but we can do that, can't we? What is the best? Is it best that I'll get them to Thamesmead now, perhaps, and then we can put you in touch? Absolutely. And then also the creative group for young people, Adriana. Can we put it on Facebook, Thamesmead All Stages?
Yes, I will divert that to Carly, but it is on the Thamesmead Now homepage. But yes, Carly, I don't know whether we can post to other groups.
I'll double check. I'll make a note of this now and get back.
Yeah, I know that group gets a lot of traction.
It does, yeah, it does. Also, just to say, so if you registered, you will get an email, and it will sort of go through how you can contact us for more details. I understand we've kind of just given you a whole load of information. So yeah, so you can, or if you want to know right now, you can just go on the Thamesmead Now website and on the Contact Us page and just send it, and it will come through to me, and then I can distribute accordingly, so that's fine. So that's all our questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, guys, all of you for the panel, for joining us and telling us all about this amazing work that you're doing. It sounds like it's going to be an exhausting summer. Adrian and Jez, you might have to take a month off in September. But yeah, as I said, any questions, then you can contact us. There's lots of ways, and you will get an email that will sort of specify how you can contact us for future reference. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I'm going to switch this off now, so have a lovely evening. Thank you very much. Oh, and also I forgot just to say, I will also post a link to the YouTube channel, so you can watch this back at any time you like. So okay, thanks everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.